This is how I prevent stress-induced cravings and falling off track on my meal plan in order to maintain my 35-pound weight loss transformation. Hi, I'm Dr. Zaldivar, and I quit my nutrition professor jobs at the University of Miami, Miami-Dade College, the American College of Sports Medicine, and elsewhere so I could focus on reaching a wider audience online. In a previous video, I talked about how stress releases cortisol, your main stress hormone, and that wipes out dopamine in your brain. And this drop in dopamine is a very strong conscious and or subconscious driver for you to reach out and consume sugar or carbs or just eating something that you know is not on your meal plan. That's usually how most people end up cheating on their diet, and that's why most people eventually give up, because the cycle keeps happening and then they lose the self-confidence in their ability to be able to achieve the body and health of their dreams. I want to add one more tool that I use that's very powerful in offsetting stress. I was talking about that the other day in the group coaching session, and I figured it's a good idea to film a YouTube video sharing it with everybody. And that is the support versus stress bar. I actually got this from Bright Line Eating, Dr. Susan Pierce-Thompson. She is amazing. She has her company Bright Line Eating that helps people lose weight by targeting overweight and obesity as a form of an addiction. And so they use the addiction model, and they have the highest rates of success as compared to almost all other dieting programs, which makes sense because really it is addiction at the root of this problem. And so what is this support bar versus stress bar? Most people break their diet when the stress bar goes high, and that's because they're releasing all the cortisol from the stress, and that wipes out their dopamine, and they can no longer think clearly, and they just reach for anything to make them feel calm again and numb out the emotional pain and sometimes even the physical pain that you can go through if you're going through a craving. The problem is that life will always throw a lot of stressful events at you, and so the stress bar sometimes or almost all the time will have days where it's really, really high. It might drop a little bit and then go really, really high again. And so we can't really ever eliminate stress, and I don't think it's a great idea to aim for that, because stress is part of progress. If you want to progress in anything, if you want to grow a business, if you want to get a certification, any kind of progress, inherent in the progress is the discomfort and the stress that you have to go through to grow as a human being. And so it's not necessarily the stress that's the problem, but more so it's your support level that can buffer the level of stress that you're under. So what I do is, anytime I anticipate that my stress bar is gonna be higher, for example, family's coming over, we're visiting somebody, we're traveling, some change in the routine, maybe getting sick, anytime the stress bar goes higher, I make sure that my support bar is higher than whatever stress I'm under. You can come up with all kinds of tools that work for you in terms of support bar. For me, it's all kinds of different tools, but as a foundation, it is physical fitness. And so I make sure that I train my body with running and strength training, because the more fit you are physically, the stronger you are physically, the stronger your brain is going to be, and the higher your baseline dopamine level is going to get. And when you raise your baseline dopamine level, now even if the stress bar is going up and cortisol is being released, you have so much dopamine that the cortisol that's being released can't really wipe out all your dopamine, because you just have so much, almost an excess amount of dopamine, so you can handle higher and higher and higher levels of stress, and you can achieve bigger and bigger and more ambitious goals. So that's one tool that can raise my support bar. And so if I'm going to go on vacation, I don't peel back on my workouts, I double down so that I am particularly feeling amazing all days of the vacation, even if I may not have complete control over the itinerary. Another tool would be reaching out to a friend or family member or a therapist to talk through whatever situation you're going through. I like to listen to a lot of addiction content and a lot of brain science content, because it keeps me connected to what's going on in my brain and how to be in control and manipulate my brain in the way that I want to. Another tool can be doing a yoga or meditation session. I personally swear by the visualizations that I do, and I highly recommend that you get really skilled with visualizations. And if you want to learn more about visualizations, I go deeper into the forms that I have coined, which is energy versus training visualizations, and how I do them and what are the benefits of both and why you should do both of them at the same time. And you can check those out in my guide, Monster Mindset. It's on drzaldivar.com/shop. Another support tool I use is allowing myself to take a break and not feel guilty about it. Because if you're doing YouTube, or if you are an entrepreneur, or if you are a type A type personality, then slowing down a little bit and not maxing out on your productivity for the day can be very triggering and can be very guilt-inducing. And I've had to kind of learn that sometimes if I'm sick, for example, it is okay to take a day off without any guilt, and I can listen to things or do stuff, but I don't need to go to the gym and have a full-blown workout. It's fine. And by doing that, it's not really so much that I'm raising my support bar. In that instance, I'm just lowering my stress bar. And so that's really what you want to keep in mind: support versus stress bars. Where are they at all times? You always want to make sure the stress bar is lower than your support bar. I hope this was helpful. If you need support, check out the coaching packages. The one-on-one coaching are found on drzaldivar.com/coaching, and the group coaching is on drzaldivar.com/group coaching. And I will send you a free copy of my guide, the Carnivore Diet Challenge Guide, when you sign up to my newsletter at drzaldivar.com/newsletter. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.